Hello and welcome to the English live stream.
Scream!
Let me get my teeth in properly so that I can speak. Hello, let's start again. Welcome to the English live stream, and we're here to help you improve your English. Now, if this is your first time watching, my name's Craig. I'm from mansioningles.com. And we also have a podcast at inglespodcast.com. And at both of those places, you can improve your English, especially if you're a Spanish speaker. And with me today is Lynne from putitlikethis.com. Hello, Lynne.
Hello, Craig. Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to anybody who's watching as well. If you don't know me, if you haven't watched before, then Put It Like This is my business. And my website is putitlikethis.com. I'm an online language teacher, English language teacher, and I specialize in making tailor-made courses. So most of my students are one-to-one students, although I do some small groups. And basically I design a course around the type of English, the specific type of English that you need. Usually we use our languages for a specific purpose. Sometimes it's general purposes like travel, or maybe you just want to keep your brain ticking over and you like to learn languages. But other people are learning them for very specific goals, like exams, or maybe you're a teacher of English, or you're teaching your own subject in English and you don't feel fully confident. Maybe you're a business person doing presentations. So I look for your needs and then we create the course around that. If you go to my website, you can find more. I did a very long introduction this time, didn't I? I'm a bit rusty, you see. We've had a long break over Christmas.
Yes, we've been away for nearly a month. And I forgot to mention that I also do group conversation classes. So if you'd like to improve your fluency in English and your speaking, go to the website englishcraig.com. There's another website there for you. And there you can find out all the details about speaking fluency with me in small groups of lovely people.
Yeah, now, you're multiplying your websites, Craig. You're going to be Mr. Craig Google soon, aren't you?
Tell me, it's a nightmare, all these tech things, these tech challenges. Now, if you're watching live on YouTube, on Facebook, or on LinkedIn, please say hi. Let us know where you're from. We'd love to know who's watching us so that someone is out there and we're not just talking to each other. Don't forget to say hello. And if you're watching the replay, wherever you are in the world, thanks for watching. This week, what are we focusing on? The first live stream of the year.
Well, it's the first live stream of the year, so we're focusing on the year ahead. And we thought we would ask, what do you think and what do we think the new year has in store for us? That's a phrase that we use, to have things in store for us, which means which things are, how would I explain that? How do you explain in store for us?
Things that are waiting to happen, right? Exactly. Around the corner, things that are waiting in the future.
Things that are waiting around the corner. Another way that we can say it is, what does the future hold for us? We use the verb to hold, like you hold a pencil, and we say, what does the future hold for us? And so we're going to look forward and we're going to talk about 2024 and we're going to share our predictions for 2024.
That's right. And we want you to share your predictions as well. And in the screen in a few minutes, we'll put the link where you can come on and speak. If you want to practice your fluency, your speaking in English, come and tell us live. If you want to, try and tell us your predictions as well, because we'd love to know what you're going to predict for this year of 2024.
And it would be good to come on live, and because I know many of you are probably a bit shy with your English. But if you remember, it's a new year, you might have a New Year's resolution to be braver or more confident or use more English. So this is your opportunity. Come on and keep us company for a minute or two.
Come on, Caroline. Happy New Year, Caroline. Come and jump on in a few minutes and tell us your predictions. Ignacio, hello to you.
Mhm.
Francisco, hi.
Right. Hi, Francisco.
Who else is here? Ismael, good to see you. And Eliana, nice to see you too, or to see you in
Right.
the chat. Hopefully, we'll
Uh-huh.
get to see you in person a bit later, but we'll
Yeah.
see.
Okay.
So,
All right. So maybe before we start, we should give you a little bit of a reminder about how you grammatically, what grammar you use when you're making predictions, not productions,
productions
predictions. We've both got problems with our
with our
pronunciation
teeth.
tonight. Yeah, with our teeth. So, Craig, come on, tell us, remind us, how do we make predictions in English?
Well, commonly, you can use, quite often, you use will for predictions. For example, I think it'll rain tomorrow. I use the contraction there. So it will rain in spoken English becomes it'll. I think it'll rain. It might rain is another way you could use, another way to speak about predictions in the future with a modal verb. It could rain, it might rain. You could use an adverbial expression like probably together with will. So it'll probably rain. It will most likely rain is a bit more of probability. So you can modify will with different adverbs or adverbial expressions. Can you think of any other ways to make predictions?
Yeah. Another way to make predictions is with the future, those words going to, and we call that the going to future. So you can make predictions also with going to, but the difference between going to and will is that when we use will for a prediction, then it's usually based on our feelings, or we have like we haven't really got hard evidence. Whereas when we use going to, there's kind of evidence there. So, for example, I might look in the sky and see the dark clouds, and I say, oh, it looks like it's going to rain. It's going to rain because I can see the clouds. And so there's kind of evidence. Or I might say there's going to be new elections in the UK, Russia, and America this year, I think. Because I think in all of those countries, there's kind of evidence that there's going to be elections. When we say will with a prediction, it's more like an emotion or a feeling. So you might say, "Oh, I think I'll go home later." But you're not really sure whether you will or you won't, and there's no particular evidence for it. But you say, "Oh, I think I'll go home early tonight." More of a spontaneous kind of future. And also, if you go to the circus and you pay a fortune teller to look in the crystal ball to tell you your future, then often they say you will meet a handsome stranger, but there's no evidence for it. But they usually say will as well for those kind of predictions. Would you
Exactly.
agree,
Yep.
Craig, with that?
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Very good explanation. I couldn't have put it
Okay.
better myself. Yes.
And there is a final one which we should mention, and that's to do with the verb I hope. Now, hope is for expectations in the future, but it's really your desires. So when we say hope, if you have a desire that something will happen in the future, like, I hope I win the lottery this year, that's more something that you wish for. And we don't use the verb wish, we say, I hope. Remember that, because that's often a problem for some languages. They try to say, I wish, but we say, no, I hope I'll win the lottery, or I hope I win the lottery this year.
And there are
And that's
similar
more for hopes.
and there are similar verbs to hope that tend to imply the future, or they have a future connotation. And when you have verbs like hope and then another verb after it, it's usually in the infinitive. For example, I hope to go skiing next winter. I intend to work hard this year. I expect to pass my exam next month. So all those verbs that kind of plan, I
Suppose. No, not suppose. No. Hope, expect, plan.
plan. Yeah, I plan to have a good time this weekend with my friends. So yeah, those. If you have two verbs together, then the second one will probably be infinitive. Oh, hello, Eva. Nice to see you in the chat. It's been a while. I hope you're well.
Hi.
Marita has joined us from Argentina. Hello, and
And
Laura from
Ari.
Valencia.
And Ari as well.
Happy New Year to you, Addy, as
Happy
well.
New Year. Yeah.
Okay, let's get cracking with the first predictions,
Yeah. Well, the
which
first questions we have, and while you are thinking about what your general predictions are, we want everybody to think about two general predictions, right? Now, one general prediction, this is not a personal one, a general one. And we want one positive general prediction for 2024. Because when I suggested this class, Craig said, I've only got bad predictions. And I said, no. We have to think, everybody has to think of one good, positive, general prediction and one general negative prediction for 2024. Now, you can share them in the chat. Or, Craig, as you put in the banner at the bottom of the screen, you'll see join the conversation. And what do they have to do? They just click on that website and then you can let them in live. Is that right?
you can click on the URL or the address that I'm putting in the chat on Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn. So if you click on the link, the StreamYard link in the chat, then I can let you in to talk to us and you can give us your predictions. Or you could copy down from the
Write them in the chat.
write it in a different browser, then you'll get there as well. Or just click on the link that I've just sent in the chat is probably the easiest way to do it. Yeah. So come and tell us.
Also, if you don't want to come in live, you can also put them in the chat file as usual, the way we normally do it. Okay, while you're thinking, Craig, come on. This is a big challenge for you. Make me a general positive prediction for 2024. Positive.
A positive prediction for 2024. Okay, while you're thinking, while you're watching and thinking, I'll give you mine. So I think there's going to be some really interesting advances in technology.
I knew you would say that.
As far as LLMs are concerned. Do you know what an LLM is? A large language model. Like ChatGPT, for example. That's an example of an LLM. So I think we're going to see those being incorporated in many different areas of work, different software applications. And I think the people who take that on board, and if you take something on board, you accept it, you work with it, you use it in a positive way, then that's really going to help you with your career, with your job, with your work, or studying English as well. There are many different ways you can use AI to help you study and improve your English. And if you use that, then you'll really speed up, I think, the way you're learning English. So I think that's going to be a very positive development in 2024. That's mine.
Now, I think I disagree with you a little bit on that because I'm a little bit skeptical with AI. Not skeptical, but I'm a little bit more concerned about AI. So I'm not sure. I agree with you that I think there will be huge developments in AI in 2024. I am sure that the language models will be getting bigger and bigger and the applications will be larger. But I am a little bit worried. I'm more worried about whether the development will bring, I'm sure it will bring good things, but I have also a lot of worries or concerns about the negative impacts.
Well, you did ask me for a positive.
You gave a
positive spin, so that was my. But why don't you give your positive prediction for 2024?
Well, my positive prediction, I think we will make progress on climate change. because I don't know if you've noticed. I know that, like in the news, we've been hearing that last year was the worst year on record and everything. But I think the positive thing is that now climate change is really on the agenda of many, many countries. And I think there is finally, they are beginning to wake up to the fact that we have to do things for climate change. And I think that I think there is going to be progress, because I can see more and more articles in the news about progress and about challenges and about negative things. But I can see both sides now, whereas I think in the past couple of years, it was just all negative things. But now you read about real positive progress on climate change. For example, the increase in solar energy and renewable energy, it's just moving so fast. So I think we will make progress by the end of this year. I don't think we'll solve the problem, but I'm sure that we will make progress. I don't think we're going to be worse.
And when you say
That's my
we,
prediction.
do you mean Europe? Do you mean Spain, the
I
UK,
mean,
or
me and you, Craig.
in
I mean,
general?
me and you.
We'll recycle more. Yeah,
Exactly.
be
No,
more.
I think particularly in Europe, because that's kind of what I read about more. I'm not so sure in America or China or the developing more of the developing countries, but I think in Europe, I think it's pretty high on the agenda, and I think many people are taking it very seriously, and I think that there will be progress. Yeah.
Do you think it will affect the elections? Because I think there are about 60 countries having elections this year.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
Do you think
oh.
it will affect the elections?
No, I don't think it will. But I think many big issues don't affect elections, I think. I don't know. I don't know.
Well,
Don't want to
we'll see.
predict that. Okay.
So we're waiting for you to give us your predictions for 2024. Ignacio says that we will win the lottery.
Oh, you have that feeling, do you, Ignacio?
So we're going to win the lottery. We're going to listen to you
That's based on evidence.
to take our English
Because it
to
is an
another
evidence.
level. Yeah.
Very clever, Ignacio, very clever.
And Miguel, hi from Denmark. Thanks for joining us.
Hi, Miguel. So, what about your negative prediction then, Craig? Now you can bloom because you had negative predictions.
Well, you're only giving me one, aren't you? Which
I'm only
is
giving you one. You have to choose only one
I've got
negative.
4, so I've got to choose which one to
You've
give
got to
you.
choose. You have to prioritize.
Okay, this is going to be, I think, quite controversial, but I really believe that this year we're going to start to see a general destabilization of many democracies around the world due to the polarization of society. Polarization where the political system moves extremely to both sides, to the left and to the right. And I think what's going to cause that: immigration, unemployment, rising prices, energy prices, food prices, and a rise of fascism, unfortunately, because we're already seeing in Europe the extreme right coming to power in some countries. There's Hungary, Italy, the Netherlands, Finland, Poland, and Switzerland. And with all the elections that are coming up this year, I really think that those things I mentioned, plus perhaps religious fundamentalism around the world with some
You're
terrorist
such a
organizations.
bundle of joy now.
Well, you asked me. You did
I did
ask
ask
me.
you for a negative prediction. I agree with you, Craig. And I would actually also add that I think that one of the things that will contribute to that destabilization, in addition to all the things you've mentioned, is actually AI.
How?
Because it already is, because AI is being used, and it manipulates the news, it manipulates the information, and it's manipulating very seriously people's polarization. And I
Yeah,
think,
I'll go along with that. I agree with that.
yeah, and I think that's my caveat caveat that's with what you said before about the positiveness of AI. I think that's one of the issues that worries me a lot. Hmm.
Is that your negative prediction? AI is going to
No,
influence
no, no,
elections?
no, because I don't think I know enough about AI, and I have an even worse negative one actually.
Let's hear it. Nuclear war. Come on.
No, I unfortunately it's to do with wars and suffering. And I think that I mean, in 2023, we've seen a lot of wars and a lot of suffering.
Yeah.
And I think that will probably continue in 2024. But not just in 2024. It seems that human beings never learn, do we? So I think history bears us out that for some reason we never ever learn
No.
not to fight. But obviously everybody is still fighting. And when people fight, there's a lot of suffering. So unfortunately, I think that will continue.
I do have a solution.
Oh, do you? Go
Put
on.
put women in charge.
How do you reckon?
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
do you really think that if all world powers were run by women, there'd be as many wars as they are?
I don't know.
I
I've
don't
never
think
thought of
I
it, but
don't think
maybe
there would
not.
be. I think if women took the decisions
Uh-huh.
with I think there will be a lot more peace in the world. Do you agree
Uh-huh.
if you're watching? Do you agree that women should be in charge
Mm-hmm.
of the main powers in the world? Would that help the situation? What do you think? Ismail
Mm-hmm.
says it's going to be a hard year for democracy. Yeah, yeah, that's. I'm pleased you agree with me, Ismail. I think it's going to be difficult for democracy.
Ismail, when you say totally agree, remember you don't need the D. You say, I totally agree. Uh-huh.
Igna-
It's going to be a hard year.
Ignacio says no news. No news is good news because remember, news is an uncountable noun. So I
Uh-huh.
have some good news, I have some bad news, or no news is good news.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe I should stop watching the news.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, Ever's not sure. Well, no
Uh-huh.
one's sure. I mean, that's predictions are not definitely going to happen, but we
Uh-huh.
have to base because I enjoyed thinking about this and what this year is going to bring, the good and the bad. I think it's an interesting thought
Uh-huh.
experiment.
Francisco, if you can put up his comment, Francisco Rios, he's used his language beautifully there, Francisco. I hope all the negative predictions, negative without the S, you don't put plural on the adjectives. I hope all the negative predictions will become good predictions for this 2024. Yeah, that's very positive. I like that. And you've manipulated the language properly, I hope, and then with will. Well done.
Yep, nice one.
Nice one. Okay, so is anybody going to give us any more general positive or negative predictions, or shall we move on to our personal predictions now?
I think maybe
Maybe
we
that's
should,
easy.
unless anybody wants to come in and say hi. Eva, do you want to come and join us and say hello? Give us your predictions for 2024.
He's putting you on the spot, Eva. Don't be bullied.
So,
Well, maybe the next, I think maybe the next thing, the next question might be easier for us to, for you to share things, because I think the general predictions, not everybody feels comfortable making general predictions. I don't actually. I pushed myself to do it for this lesson. But it's
yeah,
not
I
something that
found
I feel comfortable making
no, I don't
general
either.
predictions. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But let's just move on to the next one, which is a bit easier, which is
One second, Lynn. Before that,
sorry.
Francisco's saying he agrees with me. If women had the power, things would be better. Yeah, I think so. If I mean, just like swap Joe Biden for what's the name of the woman who's the vice president? Kamala something.
Yeah.
Yeah, put her in charge.
Kamala Harris, I think she's called.
Kamala Harris. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's have some more female presidents and prime
Well,
ministers.
we do have some females, don't we? We have Ursula von der Leyen. for the European Union.
Well, yeah, but she's not. She's the
Well, she's
Well,
influential. She's
she's
the head of the European
influential.
Union. I think she's done good things. The thing is, I think when the women do good things, nobody talks about them because they're not controversial. You see, maybe.
Ignacio has a comment. I hope to leave a better world for the next generations. Yes, that's a nice thought. That's I agree with that. Let's leave our world better than where we found it. Yeah.
Okay, now not general. You've got the wrong personal predictions. This is the bit where it gets easier. So I'm sure everybody can do this. Personal predictions for 2024. Make 2 personal predictions for the year ahead. You can make them positive or negative or whichever way you want. But see if you can make 2 personal predictions for you. Now, this I feel much more comfortable with. I often make predictions for myself. Do you, Craig?
No, because I got a bit confused when I was thinking about this because goals and aims are not the same as predictions, are they? The goals you have for this year, that your personal goals that you set for yourself, like I want to pass the C1 exam, for example, that's not the same as a prediction.
No, but sometimes I say my predictions to my family. Sometimes just by saying the things, it makes them more certain for me. Shall I kick off my personal one?
Yes, you go first. You go
Right. This
first.
year, I'm going to have lots of celebrations because in my family, we have lots of things to celebrate. I'm going to celebrate a very big birthday, but I'm not saying which one.
20 again.
21. I'm going to celebrate a very big birthday. So we are going to celebrate it. And also my husband and I are going to celebrate our silver wedding anniversary. 25 years.
Congratulations.
Yeah. Well, we haven't finished it yet, but we're not there yet. We're still on 24 and 6 months.
That's
But
wonderful.
when we manage 25 years, we are going to have a nice long holiday. So I'm pretty certain that that's going to happen. So I'm saying going to. We're definitely going to have celebrations this year.
Do you want to share where you're going or do you want to
Not
keep it?
yet.
Okay.
Not yet. I don't want
Okay.
to jinx it.
Okay.
Not until it's settled.
Sounds wonderful. Yeah, 25 is a landmark. It's a milestone. It needs to be celebrated.
Yeah,
For
and I'd
sure.
rather focus on that than on my big birthday, which is also a milestone and a landmark. Okay. Have you
Okay,
got one
shall
for
I?
your? Have you made a personal prediction?
Well, I predict that I'm going to grow my online business and
Oh.
conversation groups and hopefully learn to work from anywhere as long as I have a Wi-Fi connection. That will make me more flexible for travel. So hopefully I'll be able to do what you're doing later in the year, go and travel somewhere and also work at the same time. So
No,
that's
I don't want
not
to do that. I want to
no,
go
you
and
want
travel
to
somewhere and have holiday.
yeah, I get that. But I would like to be able to stay away for a few months somewhere and work at the same time.
Yeah.
So that's
Sounds
my
right.
prediction. If I can do that this year, then that would be fantastic.
Ava's just asking a question. This is about a vocabulary question. She's saying, is jinx like the Spanish gafar? I don't know what gafar is. Do you know? I don't know that word.
No.
I said I don't want to jinx it, which you've written jinx correctly, Eva. And that means I don't want anything bad to happen. And I'm superstitious. So if I tell everybody where I think we're going to go, something might happen and we might not be able to go. So it's a kind of superstitious thing that you say when you say, I think we're going to jinx it, or I don't want to jinx it. I don't know the Spanish word gafar.
According to the dictionary, it says jinx is maldición or mal de ojo. So the evil eye, like if you put a bad curse on something, yeah,
Uh-huh.
you avoid bad
But
luck and
and Ignacio has said gafar means avoid
avoid
bad
bad
luck,
luck.
and
Yeah.
that would fit Ignacio. That's exactly the way I intended to use it when I said I don't want to jinx it. Yeah.
Ignacio has a personal prediction.
Great. He says, this year I'm going to get fit definitely after I try it during 21 consecutive days. That is the rule of thumb. Oh, I like your phrase, that is the rule of thumb. That means that's the general agreed truth. And you've got to do 21 consecutive days. I've never heard that, but maybe I should try that too, because I would that your prediction, Ignacio, I've written down as my hope, which we're coming to in a moment, which I hope I can stay fit. But I'm glad that you're going to do it.
And Growth Angel, that's a lovely name. Growth Angel says, I want to improve my English proficiency by 2024. Be careful of that preposition by. I'm guessing your name is Angel. Angel, because by means at that time or before. So if you say you want to do it by December, that means you want to do it in December or before. So up to December. So when you're saying by 2024, maybe better to say in 2024, in this year, I want to do that.
Or maybe you wanted to say, Angel, by the end of 2024. That would be correct if you said
Yes.
the end of.
And Ari says, my positive prediction is to do positive things to take care of the environment. That's a very nice. Yeah, these predictions do sound like goals to me, but that's fine. Why not?
Yeah.
Do we have any more?
Um,
Improve my English? Yes, that's a good goal to have.
but it's a goal. It is true that when you say it's not my personal prediction, because then you would say I'm going to improve my English if you're pretty sure that you're going to do it. I'll improve my English if it's a feeling. And I hope to improve my English if it's a desire. Yeah, it's a little
Exactly.
bit more accurate there.
Yeah, Eva says she thinks she needs 30 days. Yeah, I'm going to try 30 days without caffeine, probably in February. I'm trying to stop caffeine.
I think I'll probably need 365. So I've already lost because we're on the 11th of January.
Francisco, hi Francisco. He says, I hope this year my English will be better because I began many years ago. And I realized that, no, you don't ever finish. I still am learning English. I have an app on my phone, Francisco, a vocabulary app. And if I'm reading or I hear a word that's new to me, and I check the meaning in English and I add it to my vocabulary app. It's a process. There's no finishing line when you can wake up and say, I know English, because there are many, many, many words to learn and many ways to use expressions. So
Absolutely.
it's a journey. It's a marathon.
So our prediction for you, Francisco, is that you will never stop learning English. That's pretty sure, isn't it?
Keep that curiosity. As long as you've got curiosity, then everything will be fine. So, shall we move on to hopes?
I have another personal prediction because
I'm
of all
sorry.
my celebrations this year. I think I'll probably end the year a lot poorer than I am now. Because I'm going to spend a lot of money. So I think I'll probably be a lot poorer by the end of 2024 than now in 2023. But I don't mind that because money is for spending, isn't it?
And I think it's always better to spend money on creating memories than on possessions, because you buy a new car, you buy a new sofa, or you buy a new TV, and it's great for a week or a few days, and then you get used to it. But if you spend it on a memory, that memory you'll always have, and you can always relive the trip or relive the party that you had to celebrate the birthday. So that's always up here in your memory.
I hope so. Yeah. Ignacio's just giving you a lot of support and energy there. Put that one up. After 30 days without caffeine in English, you will have 336 days of coffee. Well done,
Yeah.
Ignacio. That's the
Yes,
spirit.
that's right.
Give him hope.
I look forward to that for
All
sure.
right. Okay.
Okay, so
And some hopes. What are your
some
hopes?
hopes.
Hopes for
Hopes. What are we
2024.
hoping for next year? Remember, if you want to come in and say hello, tell us your predictions, your hopes, your desires for this year, then positive or negative predictions, we don't mind. You can join us by going to the link I'm going to put again in the chat for you if you missed it the first time, and come and say hello. We'd like to hear what you got to say about this year. And here we are in the chat with the link. There you are. Ignacio, who said the dog shelter? Aldo. Hello, Aldo.
Aldo.
Going to build my own dog shelter. That's a
Oh,
lovely
wow.
thing to do. That's fantastic. Where are you going to do that, Aldo? Where are you based at the moment? Where are you? And Carolyn will have less time to study languages because she'll find a job. That's wonderful. Good luck with that.
I think it's a bit odd there, though, Caroline, with the word because it's a prediction. So I would say I'll have less time to study languages if I find a job, wouldn't you say? Because I'll find a job is not really certain, is it?
It sounds okay to me, actually.
Does
I'll
it?
have
I'll
less.
have less time.
I'll be working, so I'll have less time to study. I think that's okay.
I'll be working, but then present continuous. Not I'll
I'll
find a
have
job.
I'll have less time to study languages because I'll find a job.
Because I hope to find a job. Maybe.
I think that might be okay, actually. It sounds
All
okay
right.
to me.
You think it sounds okay. Sorry,
think it
Caroline.
sounds okay.
Sounds okay to Craig. That's okay.
I'll have less time to study languages because I'll find a job. Yeah, it's a very strong prediction, like very certain, but I think grammatically, I think it's okay.
Okay.
I think so. So we're moving on to hopes. We'd like you now to share your greatest hopes for 2024, general and personal. So what do you think?
Well,
What are your hopes,
Caroline's
Lynn?
actually already written one as well. She's going. Can you get that one with Caroline? She hopes to be healthier.
Trying to find it. Here we go.
Yeah. So Caroline says, I hope to be healthier this year after having a lot of bronchitis. Oh, poor you. Sorry to hear that. Yeah, I hope you are healthier this year.
Yeah, I really sympathise because I've had bronchitis in the past and it's horrible. So
Yeah, you often get bronchitis, don't you?
I used to. Luckily, recently I've been okay, but the years ago I had really bad fits of bronchitis. Yeah. Health and peace for everybody.
I would like that one.
Yep. Definitely. What else do we have?
Well, my greatest hope for the world, not for me, is I hope for some sense of moderation and more common sense in the world, which is what we were talking about earlier. Craig reckons if the women lead the world, then we'll have that. I don't know if that's true, but that's what I want. I just want more common sense, less extremism, and more moderation and more tolerance, maybe, in the world. That would be really nice if we could have that.
Yeah. I hope for the end of the wars in Ukraine and Gaza and a two-state solution for Israel and Palestine, so that we can finally live in peace. And I hope the whole military-industrial complex will collapse. People will stop making money from selling arms. And as I said before, more female leaders so that we don't go to war so often.
Ari hopes to eat healthy foods. I agree, me too. And to do exercise 3 times a week. I can get on board with that as well, Ari. And And I actually, I'm hoping to get back into my trousers, which I can't get into after Christmas.
Well, you could do
Not
what I do.
comfortably. I can get into my trousers, but not comfortably.
You could do what I do and just buy bigger trousers. So
Yeah.
that works for me.
No, I hope to get back into my trousers at some point.
Have I
All
got a
right.
personal prediction? I don't think I have got a personal hope. Sorry. I hope to be healthy and happy this year. That's my general hope. Yeah. So let's look at some questions. Do you think we tend to make more positive or more negative predictions, and why? What do you
And
think,
that's
Lynn?
an interesting question, isn't it? I had to think a long time about that question. I think do you think it depends on whether you're a kind of optimistic or a pessimistic person?
I think it does. In fact, I recently interviewed someone for my podcast called Stephen from the excellent podcast Send Seven, and he reads the news 5 days a week for English learners. And one of the questions I asked him was, "Don't you get depressed reading the news every day?" And he's a very positive, optimistic person. And he said, "Look, if you look at the world in general and the tendencies now, there are fewer people dying of starvation than there were 50 or 100 years ago. There are fewer people dying from disease because of vaccinations in many African countries. So gradually, the world is becoming a better place. It's just that the last couple of years we've seen a lot of wars, but generally the level of people dying from lack of clean water, starvation, disease, it's getting better." He's a very positive. So I think it depends on the way you look at things. If you're an optimistic person, you can find the good things in many areas of life. Don't you think so?
No, I think so too. And I also, the thing is, I realize myself, I don't like to make negative predictions because it affects my mood and it takes away my hope for life, you know? So even though that maybe intellectually you read the news and you feel quite depressed about it, I find that I don't want to actually verbalize the negative prediction. Again, a little bit superstitious because I don't want to jinx it, you know? I don't want to say something will happen that's negative because I won't get any satisfaction if it does happen, you know?
Yeah.
Definitely. Like there's, it's not nice, is it, to make a negative prediction? I don't want to be that person who goes, "Oh yes, I was right about everything." That's not going to make me feel happy if I was only right about negative things, you know?
Yeah, no, I understand that, but it's hard to be positive though when you see so many bad things in the world. But I think the answer is to watch less news. Maybe that's the
No, well,
answer.
that's it. But because the news is very heavily slanted, isn't it, towards giving negative news, not positive news. That's the problem.
That's because it attracts people's attention, and yeah, people are more inclined to watch it. Let's look at some comments that are coming in. Aldo says, "I hope everyone will be," you need that will, the future will be resilient and no more homeless people around the world. That will be nice. Yes, for
Yeah,
sure.
I agree, especially about the homeless people. It's terrible the way that's one thing that is really negative because when I was a child, there were far fewer homeless people in the UK and I think in Europe generally than there are now. So that's definitely one thing that has not improved. That's got worse.
Yeah, it has. Ignacio says, "I'd like to drink the best bottle of wine to celebrate little achievements and go for another bottle to the store for the best." I'm not sure what you mean in the second part of that sentence.
He wants to go for another bottle. He wants to go and buy another bottle at the wine store for the best achievements, not the little ones.
Right, of course. Yeah.
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 That sounds like a good plan, but I think, Ignacio, that you are going to put on weight from all the alcohol. That's my prediction for you.
It depends how far the wine store is from where you live. If it's a long way and you're running
Possibly.
there, then you can run it
Maybe,
off.
maybe.
Caroline says, as far as as for the flooding, the high
Mhm.
levels of water in Germany, I hope the voluntary work stays popular to overcome these difficult times.
Well,
Yeah.
it's interesting you say that, Caroline, because when I was saying that I think that global war, the climate change that climate change we're going to make progress on climate change. It's actually because I've been reading a lot of articles about the fact that now a lot of normal people are no longer waiting for the politicians to do something about climate change, but they're solving the problems themselves. And it's like that, like the voluntary work helps to overcome the difficult times. And I was reading an article today about farmers in Britain who have also been suffering flooding,
Yeah.
and they have stopped waiting for the politicians to do anything about it, and they're actually experimenting themselves with different solutions of land usage, and they have been seeing that they're getting good results, but they're taking matters into their own hands to solve the problems. And I think that that's very powerful, because I think maybe in recent years we've been putting too much responsibility on having our problems solved for us from authorities. And maybe the more that we do to solve our problems, we can solve them ourselves, you know?
Exactly. And I'm sure Caroline knows also in Germany, the farmers are taking the matters into their own hands about subsidies. The government want to take away farming subsidies. And there are demonstrations all over Germany with farmers blocking roads with their tractors and taking matters into their own hands. So, yeah, I think we're going to see more of that in 2024. Galo Javier from Ecuador said he hopes his country will find peace. Actually, I was planning a holiday to your country, Galo Javier, in March this year, but unfortunately, I don't think we're going to be able to go because of the situation. We were hoping to visit Ecuador, but
Yes, I only read about that, Gallo, yesterday in the
yeah,
newspapers, and I was very shocked. I'm very sorry, and I do hope as well that your country can stabilize and regain that stability that your country had.
yeah, yeah, because it
For
was one of
many,
the
it was
most
a very stable
peaceful,
country.
very peaceful, stable country for many, many years. And I hope that it improves. I really do, so that I can that it's safe to go and visit. Yeah.
Francisco's made a nice comment. He says, I think in general we tend to be positive rather than negative. I think you need to say there, Francisco, because a positive position is the power to go ahead. I absolutely agree with that, because otherwise you have no energy, do you? You have no motivation, no incentive. So I think generally it's like, I think it's to do with your survival instinct, isn't it? Because you know you have to survive, you have to get through it. And if you take a negative attitude, then it's going to make it more difficult. So I think in general, we do tend to be positive. That's true.
Yeah.
Okay, shall we move
There's
on to another question?
there's one I think's particularly interesting, and that's why do you think we do this? Why do we try to predict and anticipate the future? And it tends to happen at the beginning of the year or the end of the year as well, when we're changing from one year to the next. Why do we make these predictions? What
Well,
is it about human nature?
I think Francisco touched on it, didn't he, when he said that we tend to be positive because it gives us the power to go ahead. And then maybe when we change the year, it's like an opportunity. Instead of seeing everything in a very long continuum, it's an opportunity to say, okay, that was 2023. And now we have like a clean slate, we say in English, a slate. 100 years ago, before they had paper, the children in schools used to have a piece of slate. That's a material, and you can write on it with chalk. And they used to use slates to study with in school. And we use the idiom is still in English, to have a clean slate That means that everything has disappeared, and you can reformulate or create something new.
You could
So
also
I
say
think we like to have a clean slate, don't you? Or to wipe the slate clean, or to turn over
turn over a new leaf.
a
Yeah.
new leaf. To turn over a new leaf.
I think that's true, but I think also there's the feeling that we can't. We like to plan. Some of us like to plan ahead, and sometimes we can't control the future. We don't know what's going to happen. There's this feeling of not having a secure future that we can plan for, and I think that's why predictions. That's why people like to make predictions as well. What's
But
going to
that's also
happen?
to
How can
do
we
if
plan for it?
But that's also to do if you're a person who likes to have control. I think maybe a prediction gives you the sensation that you are in control of the future, which in essence you cannot control. Nobody can control the future. But when we verbalize a prediction for the future, it maybe gives you some comfort, do you think, that you have a possibility to control the future just because you have verbalized it? Maybe something like that.
Yeah, what's that saying about God laughing when you make a plan or something like that? If you
Is
try
it?
to plan something like if you try to plan the future, God laughs or something like that. But yeah,
Well, I can understand that because I mean, it is. I mean, the older you get, the more you realize that you cannot anticipate the future at all. At all, it's very difficult to anticipate the future,
yeah,
and especially. I mean, in technology, we've talked about this on previous live streams. You know, nobody knows in 10 years' time what the technological landscape will look like. 10
exactly.
years ago, we had never imagined ChatGPT, really, had we? Well, not
No,
the average person. Maybe there was a scientist somewhere who had the vision. 20 years ago, we didn't have smartphones. Nobody could have anticipated that everybody would be going through the world looking at a little piece of electronic device in your pocket. And most of the world is hooked onto smartphones now, you know,
and the
or
kids at
the
school,
internet.
the children at school now, they'll be. How do they plan? How do they know what to study for the future? How do they know what
Exactly. We
jobs are
didn't,
going to be around in 10 years' time or 5 years' time?
but we didn't know either, really, you know. Many jobs. So I don't think people can ever really anticipate the future accurately, really. But it doesn't stop us doing it. We spend a lot of time trying to do it. But so the only explanation I have is that it gives us more security.
Yes.
Sometimes as well, it can help you avoid suffering. I think that's what we try to do. That's why we try to anticipate climate change, because we don't want to suffer anymore the effects of climate change, you know?
Ignacio says the opportunity to achieve another milestone in life. Yep.
Okay, with predictions for that, yeah.
And Caroline says, for me, it's easier to manage things when I've thought about possible events to come. Yes. Yeah,
Yeah, a
I
lot of
agree
people
with that.
think that, because they've already sort of you've got some solutions in your head, and so you feel more comfortable. You've got some possibilities, some alternatives. You're not caught unawares.
Okay. I think we have time for one more question. Lynn, do you
Okay.
have a preference?
Um, yeah. Are predictions useful or necessary?
Is that
Do you
one
think
that
they're
we...
useful? Well, we've talked about why we think we try to anticipate the future. I think it was, do you actually tend to make predictions? That was the way it
Oh,
started.
okay.
Yeah.
Ah, yeah, got it.
Do you personally tend to make predictions?
No, I make
Are they
goals.
useful or are they
I'm
necessary?
I make goals in my personal experience. Goals for me are not useful because I
Or
don't
goals are
usually
not useful, or predictions,
goals because I don't. I mean, I don't make
but you
predictions.
make them. You make the goals?
I make goals, but I don't usually keep them, which is really
Ah,
sad.
okay.
So Because predictions are only really made when someone asks you, aren't they? I mean, would you sit down and write a list of predictions? You might write a list of goals for the coming year, or things you want to get done, plan it. But predictions is that, well, what do you think is
Well,
going to happen? Someone asks you that, then you'd predict it,
yeah,
right?
but not me personally. Me personally, I agree with you. I don't make predictions. But if you think about journalism, journalism is full of
Oh,
predictions.
definitely. Yeah, yeah,
Politics is full of predictions.
yeah.
Companies are full of predictions. They make these 10-year plans, don't they?
Yeah.
You know?
So,
So the whole world that we live in is built on this massive industry of predictions. But personally, I don't think they're useful or necessary, and I avoid them like you. I might have hopes, but I don't really have a lot of predictions. But the whole world around us is full of predictions.
that's true. And it tends to focus around areas of work as well, or areas of society, like predicting global warming and the weather, predicting what's going to happen in the media, predicting what's going to happen in a particular profession or job.
Think about the
Yes.
insurance industry. The
Yep.
insurance industry is all about predicting the events that might happen to you in your life, and you need to be sure about it.
Yeah.
So there's a big thing there. Francisco's written a nice comment, but I want to correct one word that you've written, Francisco. You said, I guess human beings in general, so I would just, not the human beings, so human beings need to control everything, past, present, and even future. It is a part of our manner of, and now you've just invented doing, but what you need there is the verb be. It's part of our manner of being. That's what the philosophers talk about. So they talk about being, and it's the act. It's like an active way of existing.
Yeah.
Or you could also say it's part of a manner of our existence as well.
Part of human nature, maybe.
Part of human nature. That's a good one too. Yeah.
Hernan says, hello, Hernan. He says, we can predict positive and negative predictions to possible events of our life.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep. And Francisco, according to my own experience, predictions are not useful, just necessary. It's better.
Just the necessary ones, maybe. I don't know what you want to say there.
It's it's without the, so it's just necessary. Yeah. It's better step by step. Only, as you said, whether predictions, whether you take or
Whether or
don't
not
take the umbrella, whether you take the umbrella or not will be after umbrella. Yeah.
Yeah, whether you take the umbrella or not.
And Ignacio, if you previously think about goals, you'll manage the journey and you could overcome difficulties.
Yeah, I agree with that, Ignacio, but that's with hopes, isn't it? Rather than, that's goals, like you said, when we were making the distinction between predictions and goals.
But that's interesting, Ignacio, because if you're setting your goals, and that we'd use the verb to set with a goal as a collocation. If you're setting your goals for the year, it is useful to predict any obstacles or anything that might prevent you from reaching your goals. That's very useful, because then you can avoid any problems or any obstacles on the way to achieving your goal.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And Eva says finally, as if
we're in charge. Yeah.
Quite right, Eva. Of course we're not.
I think that's that's an excellent way to finish. Yeah, because we're in the hands of fate, let's say.
Well, we make our own destinies too. But I think now we're touching on another live stream class.
Fate and destiny. That would be
destiny.
That will be an interesting discussion, Lynn. Shall we write that down as a possible topic? Fate and destiny.
I'll write it down, seeing as you've just brainstormed it there. Fate versus destiny.
Do we make our own fate and destiny, or is it in the hands of a higher power? That will be an interesting
or a lower
discussion.
Power. Or some dastardly power.
Anyway,
Yeah.
we're about out of time, so I want to thank you very much for keeping us company and being here on our first live stream of the year. We will be back in 2 weeks with a different topic that will help you improve your English. And before we say goodbye, we'll tell you, if you don't know, what we do and where we're from.
All right. Well, I'm Lynn, and my company is putitlikethis.com. That's my website. You can find information about the kind of online classes because I specialize in online English classes. You can find more information there, and you can contact me if you're interested. Craig?
Yes, if you are a Spanish speaker, you will find lots of free courses, material, listenings, lots of exercises over here.
You're getting mixed up. He's got so many. You're going to have a browser now for your website.
Yeah, tell me about it. At mansioningles.com, that is mainly aimed at Spanish speakers. If you're a speaker of any language, you're welcome to listen to our podcast at inglespodcast.com or wherever you listen to your podcasts. And if you're interested in a conversation class to help you with your fluency and your confidence when you're speaking English, and you might need it because we did notice that none of you had the confidence to come in and say hello and speak with us. So I think you really need to go and have a look at the website, englishcraig.com, and think about joining one of my conversation courses that starts in February, is the next one. So, yeah. Okay.
Okay. Well, have a good week, everybody. And thank you all for your comments and your participation. It's been a lot of fun. Thanks.
See you in 2 weeks. Thanks a lot. Take care. Have a good one.
Bye.
Bye-bye.